TandLers, and welcome to another episode of TandL Talks, the podcast for, about, and featuring fabulous educators. In each episode, we focus on the people and practices that are helping us grow stronger together as a learning community. I'm Nancy, your host, and I'm joined in today's interview by my wonderful co-host, Gina. We're especially excited to share this episode because we get to spotlight the voices of three incredible paraeducator mentors. Our paraeducator mentoring program was built through a powerful partnership between Human Resources, Instructional Leadership, and the Puyallup Education Support Professionals Association, or PESPA. It's designed to support paras not just as staff members, but as leaders and learners. Today, we're lifting up the leadership of three incredible paraeducators who are shaping culture, practice, and community across our district. Meyers, Nikki Levy, and Jennifer Parks. They're not just supporting students, they are mentoring colleagues, running PLCs designed for paras, helping navigate certification and the fundamental course of study, and building systems so no one has to do the work alone. You'll hear how each of them found their way into education, what drew them to mentoring, and how creating professional learning designed for paraeducators, including things like recess PLCs and communication boards, is making a difference in confidence, retention, and impact. We'll also talk about why giving paras access to deep content learning, like LETRs, matters for students and for teams. I think you'll hear something else, too. Power, pride, and a clear message that paraeducators are instructional partners and leaders. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to TandL Talks. Today we are talking with some of our fabulous paraeducator leaders. I am Nancy, your TandL Talks host, and with me is
Gina Vincent, the lovely co-host, although you can't see me. You'll just have to take my word for it.
She's totally lovely, trust me. And we have our three paraeducator leaders. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, everyone. I am Meyers, and I am a resource paraeducator at Desi Evans Elementary.
Hi, I'm Nikki Levy, and I'm a lap title paraeducator at Brulette Elementary.
And hi, I'm Jennifer Parks, and I'm a developmental kindergarten paraeducator at Brulette Elementary.
Thank you all for being here today. So let's just start. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get into education? And then how did you get into mentoring and supporting other paras?
I think my story is probably familiar to a lot of other paraeducators. I moved here to Washington State almost 14 years ago, and my children started elementary school when we moved here. And we started at Brulette Elementary right across the street, and they're all little, and so I just started volunteering at the school, which I thought was amazing that parent volunteers were at the school. That was kind of a new concept for me. I knew of a homeroom mom concept, but like parent volunteers, started working in the art docent program, found a huge passion there. And I have three children that went through the Puyallup School District. And so once my youngest was in school full time, I had a teacher mention like, hey, we pay people to kind of do some of the things you do as a volunteer. And I was like, I don't understand. Tell me more. And so I applied, and that was when my paraeducator journey began at Brulette Elementary. And I've had the fortune of kind of being in all kinds of classrooms and being encouraged by my admin to take on different roles and seek out other certifications that empower our students and our educators. And eventually that led us to the mentorship that was created. And before that, I had done recess PLCs, and that kind of developed out of our COVID era with structured recesses, and being in a platform at Desi Evans gave me the opportunity. I think it's just a bigger stage to develop skills for structured recess for what we needed at the time during coming back from COVID. And from there, the recess PLCs spawned, and then this mentorship came up, and it's a fantastic community to be a part of.
Thank you.
You want to go, Jen?
Well, I think I started a little different. I mean, all my kids went. I have 3 girls, and they all went through the Puyallup School District. But my oldest is a kindergarten teacher, and so I did PTA when my kids were all young and did volunteer work. But when she became a teacher, I started volunteering in her classroom, and she's like, "Mom, you should become a para, and that way you could get paid for helping me." And I was like, "Oh, what? Huh?" And that's kind of how I started. And it actually was at Brulette also. And I love it. I ended up mostly doing one-on-one work with kids. And I have a passion with kind of helping with behaviors and helping with kind of that path. And ended up working with a great team, still work with a great team. I started in the mentor program a couple years ago and felt the need for paras I really want them to have that one-on-one ability to work with each other, to learn from each other, to help each other. And when I started, I didn't have that. And, it's like you're just kind of thrown in there and not knowing what we're doing. And so it's like to be part of a program that, we're getting to help them and hopefully retain more paras in the long run is, I think, going to be huge. But I think it's a great program.
Thank you.
Well, to me, right?
Yep.
I feel my story is a little bit of Allie's story and Jen's story combined. I started when my daughter started kindergarten at Brulette Elementary. We're all there, right? I volunteered in the classroom, and that led to, again, some staff saying, "Hey, you can get paid for this." And so what was more ideal than working in the same school as my kid, having the same time off as my student? Yeah, and just being there. So I've worked all aspects in Brulette. I'm still at Brulette. I've been there, I think this will be year 13. That's crazy, right? But all aspects, from just volunteering in the classroom, running small groups. I did recess for several years, and now lap title. And last year, then Jen was like, "Hey, Nikki, you should be a para mentor. Like, do this. You'll be great at it." And I thought, what a better way to empower other paraeducators to take part in their learning and advocate for themselves and learn more about the district.
Thank you. You all touched on this, but prior to having mentors, we would have a para, usually a sub, come in and ask them to work with our hardest kids with no training or support. And we have tons of paras who've done amazing things with kids, but isn't it better when we can help them get prepared, help them build skills so that they can do the work and feel better about it, but also feel like they have somebody in you that they can call if they have a question, if they need help. So it feels a lot less isolating when we have our para mentors. So thank you all for your work.
And I think just to add, and it's like as the mentor program is growing, it's like hopefully that will continue, because it's like we're just at the beginning phases of it.
You're right.
Where we are just starting to hopefully get more of the job shadowing and hopefully getting more of the one-on-one support, because we've been working a lot with the professional learning piece and just getting out there with the mentor program. So it's just going to be another step in that, But it's like it's all just way more than where we were a few years back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I also think about the people that you're mentoring who a few years down the road might be interested in becoming mentors themselves, right? That's one of the cool things about education, is it just builds on itself. And the leaders that you are helping to create the leaders who are coming up. You help lead professional learning for our new paraeducators. So tell me a little bit about that.
So part of the mentorship started with PLCs, professional learning communities, and these are actually para-specific. A lot of times paras will attend professional learning, but it's always geared towards the teacher aspect.
Right.
And as a para, obviously this district is fantastic about in-house education and professional learning. But if you attend those as a para, which all are welcome to any of them, you have to just look at it through your para lens and pick pieces of it of like, okay, doesn't apply to me, does apply to me, or how can I manipulate that into the para world, into my specific para world. And so we talked, and and you know, Washington State requires us to have completed certifications and fundamental course of study, and then we have opportunities for general and advanced. And what better platform than to create para-specific learning. But not only that, create that community of job-alike almost. And that's where the Recess PLC came in. It's job-alike, and we're all there. And even though Recess is Recess, it's different with every building. A different structure, different atmosphere, different culture, different set of kids at different times of the day. And so it was great to lend that support, create that community, share stories, figure and problem solve different things, same things that are different depending on the environment. And so, and I can remember the first one I ever did was literally basically just a FaceTime. No fancy, slideshow kind of thing or PowerPoint. It was me just basically regurgitating all these things I had rambling in my head. And I literally had a piece of notebook paper just there. And I was like, I got to say all these things. I got to make sure they know all these things. And then it developed a little bit more organically and a little bit more creative and more aesthetic to have something to look at. Technology was, I wouldn't say a barrier, but something new for me to incorporate that. I can get up and talk, love to chat, love to share, but incorporating the technology piece was definitely a learning curve, but it was good. It's good to know. It's a good tool to have. But that's what it boils down to. We want our para community to have the same set of tools that our teachers and admin have, but we want it to be taught to them through a para lens. And I think when their own colleagues and peers are teaching them, it comes across a little different because we've been there, we've walked in those shoes, we still walk in those shoes. And even when I speak to paras that I've never been in that kind of classroom, I want them to share and I want them to tell me and teach me, because tomorrow I could be in that classroom,
Right.
And I've reached out to my community to ask for help. And that's also it. We want them to have the voice to ask for help, have the support to go to, because I look back and I think about our lunches together for the barely 30 minutes at recess, and you just interviewed Deja and Kat, and those are two of my mentors. Those are two of, they were part of the community where it's like, I'm that toddler that never stops asking why.
Right.
And I've never grown out of that, my poor husband. But yeah, we were each other's support, and we would ask the questions. And I still remember, this is burned in my brain, sorry to be talking so much. We sat at lunch for barely the 30 minutes we had and talked about what happens if there's a fire drill during lunch, when we were having, 5th and 6th grade lunches in the cafeteria or something. Seriously, within a day's time, I think we had a fire alarm go off. And none of the kids were drilled for it. I wasn't drilled for it. I think I stood up on the table and was like,
I'm sure.
we're going out this way with the kindergartners. But we had that opportunity, 10 minutes if that, to just talk about it out loud, whether it was just me and you or a whole PLC on it, And so that's what always sticks in the back of my brain. Like, what if we'd have never talked about that?
Right.
What if we'd never had the opportunity to talk about it?
Right.
And now the district's giving us that opportunity and that platform, and I'm going to talk about it.
Yes. And it's just, add to it, it's just changing that mindset of that we are valued, and that it's like we want to be included. We want that power. Paras want to know that they that they matter in the sense like, yeah, we want us paras want to teach other paras. We want them to feel empowered in their jobs and want to show up and want to talk about it at their lunch breaks or their after school and be excited about what their next day looks like and, be excited about going to work and what the plans are going to be and have a team to build on. And it's like when you have these PLCs and it's like you realize that they have a voice. It's like you see the excitement in their eyes. And it's like, oh, you mean I can ask for that? Oh, you mean I can do this? Oh, yeah, you can. You can. And it's like, that is so great to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, to know that their voice is heard and valued is super important. I remember, Allie, you were talking about just lunch, but like way back when I first started, I didn't know how anything in the district worked. Like, I didn't know that if I timesheeted, I wasn't getting retirement or accruing vacation or like just those like little tiny things and didn't know who to ask or.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had an email.
Yeah, or who to turn to. So to be able to educate paras on that moving forward, I think is huge.
I love the evolution of paraeducators in our district and how now you really are truly instructional partners in buildings. And I think Nancy and I were super excited because we had an opportunity to put out for 100 LETRs licenses for next year training, and we want to include paraeducators in that. Like, let's get our lap title paras trained in what happens in the reading brain, because you can collaborate around those students. And then, if it's our goal to get every student reading, let's equip everyone who's working with those students with the same set of skills. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the growth on the children? And can you imagine like just the power in those teams on how much just within the team, within the school, within the children, it's just going to be amazing to see.
I was going to say, I took the LETRs training, and I'm probably one of the very few, or if only, para that got to take it, and I think it's so valuable. Yeah, that tool, especially for those lab title paras.
Yeah, so sign up.
Yes, sign up. Or if you have questions, shoot me an email.
Yeah.
Because, it was so good. It was one of the best trainings that I've taken.
That's awesome. And our paraeducators are typically working with our kids who need the most support, whether that's reading or behavior or whatever. You're working with our most challenging kids, the kids who need the most. And so the more you know, the more you can do great things for kids, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit. Allie, you mentioned the para certification and the fundamental course of study. And I remember when that first came down, it was a little overwhelming.
Just a little.
And it caused a little anxiety, I think, for all of us. How are we going to meet this requirement? But now that we're 6 years down the road, what has been the impact that you've seen on our paraeducators because of the para certification, because of the fundamental course of study?
Yeah, I remember when that all came down, and I feel like I was still new at that point, but I remember a lot of our veteran paraeducators didn't take it well, and they just didn't understand, and I just was like, oh, okay, I can see this, this is new. It's something you haven't had to do before, but I was eager to educate myself on this new career path for me. And so I was like, okay, well, how do we get that, education or take those courses to complete that certificate and our certification? And I will tell you, after being at conferences with other paras throughout the state, Puyallup School District does a phenomenal job with creating in-house education. We don't have to go and fish for it outside of our realm. It's right here. Everybody and anybody, just look it up, And that's one of the few things that's easy to access with this whole course thing, because I feel like we've had to jump through hoops. And like you said, the evolution of it has been crazy. But you, my friend, and superstar Chris Wilkinson have created a home plate that is manageable.
Good.
And it's just, I can't imagine. I mean, it's so crazy to think. Like, we were, I think our first or second, it had to be our first year at DESE. We were still in that scramble mode of the FCS and what qualifies and what doesn't. And, oh, you did it that way, but you have to do it this way. Or it's go to this website, but then move over to the next website. Or and then OSPI's website, if it's going to jive with what we did and how we did it. So it was a lot to take on. It was very confusing. And I know at DESE, myself and another para who kind of sort of had a handle on things, probably just because we always ask questions, we kind of created an impromptu, like, everybody come this day and we're just going to sit in front of the computer and figure it out, you know? So, and I remember that whole day you gave us, I think maybe the end of the school year or something, where it was like every para in, you know, pretty much in our district, it felt like, was there. That was powerful.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And you held our hand through it. And it was nice because we were all literally learning how to swim, building that airplane in the sky kind of thing.
Right.
And Chris, God bless her, she keeps, when it changes, she changes with it and she shares it. And I don't think we could do the facilitations we do without her being the interpreter, basically, for like what the state wants, how our district's going to interpret that, and how we see it and what we need to do to get the job done. I mean, it's been amazing. Technology is phenomenal now, where, you know, I think COVID taught us that we can do some things in person and we can do some things online and still get it done and not have it impact our work or our It can be done. But yeah, that evolution, and to kind of be a part of it,
Right.
I think it gives us a better foundation to be mentors, because we don't want to say like, oh, you don't know how lucky you are right now, but, you know, to be in those pioneer days, we can say, like, you know, ask all the questions, but guess what? Most of them are going to already be there for you. All those answers and questions are already going to be there for you. So it's great to have that.
Right.
Well, I think with the added certifications, I mean, I think a lot of paras, you know, some paras use it as a stepping stone because they want to do something different. Other paras, I mean, that's just their career choice. Like,
Exactly.
for me, for instance, I started a lot later in life. I was a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, and it's like, this is what I just choose to do. I enjoy what I do. And so to have the certifications that we have now in place and within our school district and within our state, it's amazing. And it gives that power to the paras to feel like that they have a career choice, that they can be better at their jobs because they have these options, and, you know, and they can get their advanced certification, or they can get their, you know, SPED certification, or, you know, they can work on whatever goals that they want to work on. Like, you know, we do a professional growth plan, you know, so they can work on their personal goals, or, you know, what they would like to be better on in their jobs. So it's like, it gives them the power, you know, to have those certifications behind them. And I think it just adds to being better paras and all around.
Jen, I think you're reading my mind. I was like, knowledge is power. And then you kept saying that, right? Like, it gives them, the more knowledge that they have, the better they can be at their job, and the better they can advocate for the students they work with and their staff and building, etc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the certification just globally has elevated the role of para.
100%.
It's caused all of us to look at the role of para differently than just a volunteer getting paid.
Or just a para.
Just a para. Yeah.
Not just a para.
Exactly. That's not what it is anymore, right? Paraprofessionals really are professionals. And I think the certification has helped emphasize that.
Because a lot of us value our job.
Absolutely.
You know? It's like we, you know, look forward to coming to work, and,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, and take pride in what we do.
Right.
And, you know, when you're told, oh, you're just a para, it's like, oh, Wow.
Yeah.
And I just think about how impactful your instructional partnership is in terms of all the different spaces that you're interacting with kids. You're creating instructional moments on the playground, in the lunchroom, I mean, everywhere in the school. And so our paraeducators have impact across a building, which is really powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jen, you mentioned the professional growth plan. Could you tell a little bit about that?
So it's a program that was started, it's been 2 years now, and paras can go in and they can pick a goal that they want to work on. It can be a social emotional goal, it can be a something for their general cert, their advanced cert, their culture diversity, equity, and they pick a goal and they go in and they research it. So they look for articles, they look for books, they look for classes they can take, and they work on that on their own. And then as the mentor, we then coach them on what that looks like, what they've learned, have they learned some new skills, and then they get to share those skills with us. We get to watch them. I mean, and for this last class we taught, I had, there was one of the paras in the class, and she just struggled and just felt like helpless with her job, and like she left that class feeling like, oh my gosh, I actually am. I'm okay. And she felt like she had some power, and like she had the ability to have a voice in her room. And we had some paras do some different PEC boards, so communication boards for recess, so that all students can use some different communication devices while they're out at recess. And it was just like tools that they learned through some different resources that they searched. And so it's like neat and then they get to go and share that with their administrators or their teachers, and it's just giving them the ability to work within themselves and giving them the power to grow.
Mm-hmm. And they have the opportunity to self-select what's important and relevant in their job, right?
We don't choose. When they come to the class, we don't choose and tell them, oh, this is what you're learning. They get to kind of pick on what is the most valuable for them and what they feel that they're lacking in.
Right.
And they get to build on that.
Right.
Yeah, to help them grow their own learning and then be able to implement that and their students' learning. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how much fun for you to get to work with them, because I bet you learn tons of stuff
Yeah.
from them as they're doing all the research, right?
100%. Yeah, I mean, like just different tools. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have thought. Like, we had one student do a video with some kids on some social emotional, like working on how to say how you're feeling, and with some students, and talking it out. And it was just like neat to watch how they figured out different ways to do that, or playing games with kids. Or we had one para, she wrote a book, to share with students, so it's just neat. It's neat seeing them realize that they can do this, and then watching them like go to the admin or go to the teacher that they're working with and say, hey, this is something I'm working on. Can you help me? Do you have some resources that you can help me with? Or interviewing them. Yeah, it's just, I always get excited when I watch paras with their excitement.
Right.
When I see other colleagues like realize that they're important, and like that, even though they're in a classroom, that their value in that classroom is just as valuable as the teacher that they work under, and their value at the school is just as valuable and as anybody else in that building. And a lot of the times, like you had said earlier, about we interact with students so much more than a lot of teachers do, or admin, because we deal with the difficult kids, or we are working with the one-on-ones, or we're doing the small groups. And so we have a lot of, those intimate interactions with them. And I don't know.
Working one-on-one with a kid, or even small group with kids, you're just able to get to know them in a different way than a classroom teacher with 25 kids, right? You just get the opportunity to know different things about their learning or their personalities or those little things.
And that's why it's important for those paras that work with them to realize that they're important in their
Yes.
and speaking up, because and that when it comes time for the IEP writing or for growth plans, or when they're doing BIP work or whatever, or there's some behaviors going on in the building, that they're able to give that input, and say, hey, this is what I noticed, and not being afraid to feel like, oh, I'm just a para and you don't want to know what I have to say. It's like, speaking up for yourself, because I still hear all the time where paras won't speak up.
Oh,
and it's like, come on, you have a voice and you matter. You
Yes.
matter.
Yes. Paras are an important part of the team,
So,
for sure.
and coming back to the mentor program, I think that's a big, huge piece of what that's about. It's like making paras realize how much they do matter, and and us helping them learn that and teach them along the way is huge. And having that opportunity has just been a gift. Yeah.
So is there a moment that stands out where you saw the mentoring, the work that you've done really make a difference for someone?
I think for me, after each PLC I give, whether it's the ones I've done with recess, this past year I took on a new role with Communications PLC, and I do an exit slip after each session, and it feedback on what resonated with them, what more do we want to dive into with subjects that we talked about recently, what haven't we talked about that you want to know. And it's always so interesting to me. Like, I live for those feedbacks and, like, hurry up, fill out the form. I want to download the spreadsheet. Because it's always so interesting of, like, did different things resonate more with, or was there an overall theme of, like, love this, didn't like that, need to know this? And then even though I have, a strategic outline of what I'm supposed to talk about, I can tailor each session for what they want more of. And so I know with the recess PLCs that I did for handful of years, it was nice to know we were talking about, having your voice, especially with your admin, because that's your biggest classroom, and it's an unstructured environment. And the ratio of adult to student varies greatly. And so my passion for that was safety protocols and just having that voice. Please, and I begged them, and I even sent out information to admin, like, please create a space for these recess paras, meet with them on a monthly basis, talk about, because they have questions on how to handle small discipline things. And you want that to be, we want everybody to speak the same language for the kids. It just makes it easy for them. And so to hear afterwards that, oh, we've got meetings set up with our admin, or to run into admins or have new admins come into our building and say, like, oh, yeah, we started meeting with our recess paras. And I was like, so that was huge. And I hope that it helps. It's definitely going to benefit the children 1,000%, but it's going to empower and benefit those recess paras as well.
I was going to say, for me, last year was my first year as a parent mentor. So at the beginning, a little overwhelmed, but with the spring class that Jen and I just ran, and 17 paras went through that class. For me, it was being able to be the person that those 17 people came to, asked questions, being able to help them, guide them through their own learning journey, and then seeing them excited about that, and then having them so excited about their learning and about implementing that learning in their buildings and in their classrooms or their learning environments. That was huge for me as a mentor. Yeah.
Thank you.
And just to build on that, just to, because the exit tickets, having them share, like, just how valued they felt, or how that they felt heard, and how it was like, thank you for doing this, and thank you for giving us the ability to learn some new skills that we didn't have. But it's like even on the smaller level of helping, in the building with new paras, and they'll come up with questions. It's great to be able to say, hey, go look for this, or giving them the ideas or where to go, and then they'll come and say, I found it, and it's like, and not always giving them the answers, but just giving them a little bit of pieces so they can go find it themselves. I think is great to watch, and then watch them turn around and go help somebody else.
Right.
Is also huge. It's like just continuing on that process of helping each other.
So if there are paras out there who are interested in developing their leadership skills, possibly becoming mentors, what would you say to somebody who's interested?
Just do it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Even if you're a little bit hesitant, just go for it, because you're not doing it on your own. We're a group. We're our own community as well, our own specific community, and we help each other. It's like, oh, whatever that slide was didn't go over well, or, I don't even know how to present this. I'm not comfortable. So we try it out on each other. What does it sound like? What does it look like? Throw those GLAD strategies on each other. And you're not alone. Whatever you're doing, whatever path you're walking, you're not alone. It may feel that way. You may be in that tiny little closet of a classroom doing small group, but you as an adult have to reach out, right? Like, we'll reach out, we'll send those emails, and it's even for us, it feels isolated, because it's like, I'm reaching out, I'm doing all the things, I got crickets.
Right.
And so it's like, did it even get to them? Did it fall on deaf ears? Am I too scary, or am I too busy and don't look available, or don't, appear to be available? But yeah, we have a lot of paras in this district, and we have a lot of people that support us and that want to see that position succeed with less turnover,
100%.
a lot more sustainability, and yeah, even as paras, and if you want, even if you're just thinking about it, and you don't have to be in the district for 10 plus years to do this. If you feel like you want to say something and have a voice, try on the hat.
I was going to say, just reach out.
Yeah.
It's like, just reach out to any of the mentors now. Reach out to Candace, reach out to Chris. It's just like, just start, because you're a mentor already, even if you don't think you are, because you already have helped somebody in the building that you're not even aware that you've done. You already are doing your part. We can just help, and as a team, it's like, yeah, we all have each other's back. It's like we work together, and we bounce things off each other, and we build each other up, and we figure out where we can grow and what we can do different, and we all have our little expertise area,
Right.
So it's like everybody has their little glitch. They all have their little piece, their little, So it's like if somebody's out there thinking about it, you have your piece too, and somebody else can use that. So don't keep it in, share it.
I was going to say, what's the saying? Like, if you have that question, probably 10 other people have that
Yes.
same question. So reach out, ask the question, learn more about the process of being a mentor. I'm sure any one of the mentors would gladly answer any questions, sit down with you or visit with you. And yeah, ask the question, because if you have it, many other people have that same question too.
And we're all just normal paras also. There's nothing, it's like we're just all,
Well, except for the robes and the tiaras.
That's just,
We enjoy costumes.
sorry you can't see it. We dressed up really nice for you guys today.
Well, thank you for being our guests on TandL Talks today. I have loved hearing from you, and the three of you inspire me. Any last words, Gina?
No, I loved hearing about all of the amazing things that you're helping do for our
Yes.
paraeducators. Thank you for your hard work and your commitment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Yeah, thank you for
inviting
having
us to
us.
the
Yes.
table,
Yes.
giving us a voice, and creating that stage for us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Please ask us back anytime. Yeah,
We absolutely will.
yes.
All right. Thank you for being our guests on TandL Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to TandL Talks. Gina and I are so grateful to Allie, Nikki, and Jennifer for sharing their stories, their heart, and their leadership. They've shown us what it looks like to mentor others, to build community, and to make professional learning meaningful and doable for paraeducators. You may have also heard a few shout-outs during the episode, and rightly so. Assistant Director Candace McGregor and Administrative Assistant Chris Wilkinson are tireless champions for paraeducators in our district, and their work makes programs like this possible. A few big takeaways for me. Paraeducators are professionals and partners. The certification process has helped elevate that role, and our schools are stronger because of it. Community matters. When paras have mentors they can actually call, when they gather in job-alike PLCs, when they learn from one another, practice gets better and confidence grows. Knowledge is power. Whether it's fundamental course of study, advanced certification, or LETRs training, when paras get access to high-quality learning, our students benefit. If you're a paraeducator who's been wondering whether you're ready enough to lead, to mentor, or even just ask the next question, consider this your nudge. Reach out to me or to Gina Vincent. We would love to connect you with the mentor team and help you take your next step. Thanks again for tuning into TandL Talks. I'm Nancy, and I will see you next time.